Hello and welcome to sakitech. So a lot of us have been waiting for this, the iPhone 6. It's here, it is beautiful, and it's bigger. But is it better compared to its predecessor or other prominent Android smartphones? So let's dive into some details and find out more about this beauty. Let's highlight some of the basics. So the basics are that we have a larger 4.7-inch screen with a resolution of 1334 by 750 with 326 pixels per inches, which carries on the Retina display legacy. We also have an A8 dual-core processor clocked at 1.4 GHz, which is a 64-bit chip, and we have 1 GB of RAM. You can snatch an iPhone 6 with the following storage options: a 16 GB version, a 64 GB version, and a 128 GB version. And finally, the iPhone 6 comes with an 8 megapixels iSight camera and a front-facing 1.2 megapixels FaceTime camera. So let's skip the basics and go into some details and take a look at this year's design. It is, without question, a beautiful phone, and it comes with that super premium in-hand feel that is a signature of Apple products. When you hold this device in your hands, it will feel like $1,000,000. You get a super smooth unibody aluminum finish with a continuous form factor where the glass display softly arcs towards the curved aluminum body all the way to the back, giving you a continual feel on the full surface area, effectively replacing that boxy feel that you had on the iPhone 5S with the sharp edges. Now, regardless of the newer design, it's not light years ahead of the iPhone 5S in terms of build, feel, or design. I would not be surprised if some people prefer the design of the 5S. Side by side, they both look well built and offer premium quality. The power button is now on the side for easier access due to the taller form, and the volume keys have changed from circular buttons to rectangular buttons, which makes them easier to press. The slightly protruding iSight camera on the back produces two causes for concern. What if I scratch the camera by mistake when I place the phone on its back on a rough surface? And two, if you attempt to use the phone while it sits on a flat surface, it will wobble. The cure: you probably should buy a case. And a final remark on the design is that I wish there was a way to get rid of these white strips that run along the top and bottom of the device on the rear side. Having talked about the design, let's talk about the screen size, which is probably the most prominent upgrade in this release. As you know, the smartphone market is swarmed by Android phones averaging screen sizes of 5 inches or more. So we thank the gods that iPhone has finally given us a phone with a bigger 4.7-inch display, because this gives us an immediate boost in enjoying games, videos, apps, and basically everything we do on the iPhone will look more satisfying. The 4-inch was getting too small in a market saturated with bigger screens, and I'm glad it's over. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get the full HD 1080p resolution, but the iPhone 6 retains the Retina display with 326 pixels per inches, which, as we know, is supposed to be just perfect. As you know, the human eye cannot see any pixelation at that level of PPI, so we get that optimum sharpness. As long as you're looking at the phone from a normal viewing distance, such as 10.5 inches or more. If you do want a 1080p display, you will have to go with the larger iPhone 6 Plus, or you're going to have to take a look at some Android smartphones from HTC or Samsung or other Android manufacturers. iPhone 6 does come with some improved screen technology, which will translate to better white balance, higher contrast, deeper blacks, sharper text, and wider viewing angles. So it will be an improvement over the 5S, but it won't produce results as sharp as a 1080p display or a Quad HD display as we have seen on some of the newest Android flagship phones. Now, anyone that is willing to dispute this fact may be wise to understand that ultimately the viewing experience on the iPhone 6 Plus, which is a 1080p display, is better than the iPhone 6. iPhone 6 Plus has more pixels and a higher PPI of 401, and it is able to produce sharper images, videos, and other forms of media overall. Therefore, compared to the iPhone 6 Plus and other flagship Android smartphones that sport the 1080p resolution or more, the iPhone 6 is a few steps behind, and frankly, it is a bit disappointing. So let's talk about another iPhone feature that is used a lot, the camera. The camera is in fact top-notch. It is good enough that it can replace a point-and-shoot camera. And despite retaining the 8 megapixels resolution as on the iPhone 5S, the iPhone 6 will end up taking clearer and sharper pictures due to an improved image sensor, a faster processor, and some software tweaks. Here's a snapshot of notable improvements and some disappointments. The improvements first. So you do get a super fast focus, and this is due to a new technology called face detection autofocus. You can also record video at 1080p at 60 frame rates per second as opposed to 30 frame rates per second, which was the norm on the iPhone 5S. Now the 60 frame rate per second is going to give you smoother video. And then you have this new cinematic video stabilization feature, which is actually amazing. It works very well in stabilizing videos recorded while you're moving, so you can say goodbye to shaky videos. And of course, you can now record slow motion videos at a mind-boggling 240 frame rates per second, which allows for some slick-looking slow motion videos that might resemble scenes from The Matrix. And also you can take 43 megapixel panoramic shots instead of the 28 megapixels on the iPhone 5S. And here's a couple of disappointments. So you cannot record 4K video. Even Samsung Galaxy Note 3 from last year can record 4K video, as well as the Galaxy S5 and a slew of other Android smartphones. So that's one disappointment. The other one is the front-facing camera is unchanged. It is still only 1.2 megapixels, and it is capable of recording only at 720p. I do need to mention that the aperture has been increased on the FaceTime camera, so you will get some better low-light photos, but the resolution is still that measly 1.2 megapixels. Again, compared to some Android smartphones, that is nothing. Some of the new phones do have a front-facing camera up to 4 megapixels. So let's talk about the processing power, the memory, and the graphics. Now, in terms of the processor, the iPhone 6 comes with an A8 processor, which is a dual-core 64-bit chip clocked at 1.4 gigahertz with 1 gigabytes of RAM. Now, I wouldn't get too hung up on these specs that appear to be identical to last year's iPhone 5S on paper and also appear to be ancient compared to some Android phones that sport quad-core processors with higher clock frequencies. Just remember that Apple has said that their A8 processor is 25% faster than the A7 processor, and you will also get a 50% boost in graphics performance over the iPhone 5S. Now, historically speaking, iOS always has been a fluid and lag-free experience. So rest assured that you will have a super fast and a super smooth experience whether you're playing graphically demanding games, running apps, watching video, or taking pictures. And that is guaranteed. Alright, so let's talk about the battery life. A full charge of iPhone 6 will last you a full day of heavy use. Now, normally I would say generous use, but now I can comfortably say heavy use because I've been using the phone day after day after day with one single charge, lasting me an entire day of playing games with it, watching some YouTube videos, just horsing around with applications, checking mail, texting, and calling people. Okay, and I really am using the phone. As you know, when you get the phone for the first time, you're always playing with it. So it has been lasting me a full day. It is clearly better than the 5S, so don't have any doubts in that department. The battery will satisfy you unless all you like to do is play games from the time you wake up until your battery dies. Then it's not going to last you all day. But if you're just trying to do a nice mix of these things, watching videos, playing games, talking on the phone, messaging people, you will be perfectly fine. Alright, so let's talk about the software. The software is simply iOS 8. It's a smooth and fast operating system. And if you're familiar with the iOS 7, you will quickly realize that iOS 8 is a refined form of iOS 7. So you are getting a perfected product here. And let's quickly look at some of the features of iOS 8 to give you an idea of the look and feel. You can send voice and video messages right from your Messages app as long as they are iMessages. If someone sends you a text message, you can respond to it right from the actual notification pop-up or from the lock screen without ever having to launch the Messages application, so that makes your experience a little more seamless. When you invoke the multitasking interface by double pressing the home button, you will also get a list of your favorite and recent contacts right on top of your app cards. You also get a new powerful spotlight feature that not only searches your iPhone, but it will present results from iTunes, iBooks, Wikipedia, and the web. So you will also get some location-specific suggestions. So if you're looking for pizza, if you search pizza on your Spotlight search, it is going to give you a listing of the local pizza shops. So you get the idea. So that is going to be location-specific suggestions. Now, because the iPhone 6 is bigger, it comes with one new feature called reachability that allows you to double tap the home screen, which slides the entire display down within the reach of your thumb. This feature is also known as the one-handed mode, and it only works on the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus. Additionally, expect to see some other very useful and productive features based around the concept of continuity, which allows you to answer and make phone calls from your iPad or your Mac computer as long as they're on the same Wi-Fi network as your iPhone. So as far as the software goes, you're good to go. But if you're coming over from Android, you will quickly notice the lack of customization iOS 8 offers, yet you will also notice the presence of extreme fluidity. To quickly summarize, iOS 8 is probably the easiest smartphone operating system to learn and use with the best third-party apps from the App Store. Now, it is important to stress this point. iOS 8 is a fluid experience and offers the best third-party apps. The reason this is important is because our phones wouldn't amount to much without those solid applications that we download from the App Store all the time. In conclusion, what I want to tell you guys is that the iPhone 6's biggest improvement over the iPhone 5s is its bigger screen size, period. Everything you do on your iPhone will be more enjoyable on the larger screen, and now you have an incentive to give iPhone a try if you were hooked to a larger screen Android smartphone. You do get a better processor, you get faster graphics, and you get an improved camera. So there's no question that everything has been upgraded, but no groundbreaking changes have been made into this iteration. Regardless, iPhone 6 and iOS 8 make a perfect duo, and the experience derived will be very, very satisfactory, especially for existing Apple customers.